Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. It is the Boomba right here on your Boom Radio NG. My name is Dolupo, and I bid you one warm welcome this beautiful Thursday afternoon from the city of Lagos State. It promises to be a very interesting one as we're going to be talking about quite a number of things. Today there's a lot of gist from the courts. In fact, a lot of stories from the Nnamdi Kanu case. At the moment, there's from inside, even to the extent that there's an extension of another arrest that happened where at his hearing as well. So we're going to be looking at a lot of those things. INEC officially has a new boss. We're going to be looking at that as well. The Ministry of Health has decided to also take matters into their own hands and broadcast a lot of things informing Nigerians about what they need to do, monies that have been disbursed, are going to be disbursed, and they are asking Nigerians to go and ask questions. So it's not just gist anymore. In fact, it was a whole red letter that came out with that conversation now. And also there's a bit of sports. In fact, there's a lot of conversation about Nigerian sports today. There's updates on a lot of conversation, more like review of the Champions League as well. There's Europa League today, but there's a lot of conversation around Nigerian sports. So sit back, relax, and enjoy as we're going to be looking at the twists and turns that is happening in Nigeria and around the world today. My name is Dolupo again, and with me in the studio is Sola Rogers.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to the bar.
Okay, so we're getting straight into the conversation today. Like I said, there are quite a number of things that we're going to be looking at today. But starting, news broke about about an hour ago, actually, about the president swearing in the new. In fact, so for someone like supposed to be president watcher, apparently the president has been in the country for like a couple of days. I don't know why they did not announce that I was back, but he's back.
He's been back. I know when he got back, and I deliberately didn't tell you because...
No. It was like, was it yesterday? I figured it. I'm like,
when you said it on air, I just laughed. I said, see President Tracker.
Wait, these things happen. Thank you very much.
You are glitching.
The glitch, it was a glitch. But we have rearranged ourselves. Anyway, so basically the president is now sworn in Professor Joash Amupitan as new INEC Chairman. There's been a few conversations. We know he's from Kogi State. There's talks of how he's basically an academician and also a lawyer. I maybe would say that there's not so much controversy about him being a political person and all that. So maybe we're looking at a different INEC. I personally, I would not even say that we've had so many INEC chairmen, at least the ones that I've known the past two, as being maybe political or maybe siding one side or another. However, everybody has the truth is that I feel that most opposition, especially when elections do not go down their path, they would really just assume that the person is working for. We've heard conversations of how, in fact, that I think I still saw yesterday where someone had talked about how the post of the INEC chairman should be put in papers and people should apply for it and all those those funny things. So yeah, but it's early days. We don't know the allegations they will still pick up against this man. But I think that he seems to be pretty much a political person.
So, my take on this, and this is the boom bar. We're not trying to be populist. We just get driven by facts and experience and figures. So, I think Nigeria's elections have improved through the years. If you take a look at how elections were conducted in 1999, then 2003, then 2007, and just down the line, you would recall that things got so bad that a lot of people, quite a few of them, went to court and got caught to upturn declarations by the electoral body. Case in point, River State. Rotimi Amechi's name was not on the ballot when he became governor, but he had won, according to the court, he had won the primaries. Then the party had replaced his name and all of that. And someone became governor for a few minutes, right? Then he became governor and he spent 10 years. 8 years, right? Osun State. Aregbesola felt he was cheated. He went to court. He got a judgment. Same thing happened in other states like Ekiti, like Anambra.
Ondo State.
You get Ondo and so the thing there, what I'm trying to say is that if the electoral body as at that time was above board, those things would not have happened. But we all know that there's hardly any politician that feels they lost even when they lost.
Yeah.
You get. So I say elections have improved because in the case of I think it was the case of Ekiti State, when the forensic test was carried out on the ballot papers and the voter register, they had Michael Jackson, Mike Tyson, and foreign names voting.
Voting, yeah.
These are facts. There's not. I'm not making anything up, and you don't hear that anymore. So, as much as a lot of people did not like the immediate past INEC Chairman, Professor Jega, I think he did a very good job because, again, before Jega's tenure, we used to have what I believe were cooked up numbers. And the reason why I say that is that you will find a presidential election where somebody got 18 million votes, another person got 20-something million votes.
Which is why with what you said now, maybe is the reason why we've seen a drastic drop in voter apathy, which why I'm saying
voter apathy or an increase in voter apathy.
Sorry, an increase in voter
Alleged
apathy.
increase.
Yeah. So that's it. So was it really that people are not voting anymore, or people were really not just voting? There were just a lot of numbers.
I would
that
go
were
with
cooked
option
up.
B. People were not really voting as much
as
the results were being put out.
How does it make sense that there are more people that are registered and there are less people voting? So we could actually also now look at it from the angle that INEC probably stepped up, and now we're probably getting a lot more
realistic results.
Numbers,
yes,
than what we used to have before.
I kid you not, there will still be some manipulations by all parties. Now, one of the dumbest things that you hear about Nigerian elections is one party does not rig. It's a lie. You see, all of them, they're involved in all sorts of things. But I think Jega and his people were able to curb it to a large extent. And of course, they had their own shortcomings too. I remember when one wreck in Ekiti, was kidnapped more or less. All sorts of things have happened and all of that, But at the end of the day, we've had some massive improvements.
So you can say, like, if we look at it objectively,
yeah,
INEC or elections generally are way better than it used to.
Oh, they are improving. They're getting better. Take a look at another statistics. PDP told us that they had 30-something million members.
Mm-hmm.
A party that has 30-something means that on their own register, internally, of the 90-something million registered voters, they had 30-something.
Had a third. Yeah.
But plus or minus, they couldn't even come up with 10 million votes.
Yeah, APC said the same thing as well.
APC too claimed that they had
35
and
then you don't wonder, million. Like, is it that all those people that registered under your party do not have
They
PVCs?
didn't vote. They didn't vote, Abi. Because again, look at the results, especially in a place like Lagos. There was a time where they were getting 1-point-something million votes for governors. But the last elections was less than 1 million. Mm-hmm. You get, and you take a look at Kano and other places, then you start to look at. So what I'm talking about here is facts and figures. You get. I'm not precise,
so
but
maybe we're looking more at the actual number of people that actually vote.
Then we can now start talking about voter apathy.
Because then we can't say that less people are voting. It was probably there were just numbers in the air.
So again, constitutionally, it's INEC's job to conduct elections, but it's the party's job to get people to vote.
Yeah.
You understand? INEC should be ready for the maximum number of voters. You get?
Oh yeah, if they've registered a certain number in their minds,
They should be ready
for that number.
Yeah.
At least. So
You know? You organize a party and you say it's 250 people in a hall. You should be ready for 500 in Nigeria.
But no. What I mean by looking at it from INEC's angle
I said that as a joke. It's not meant to be deep. I'm just saying that if you have registered 96 million voters,
the day of election,
be ready to cater to 96 million
exactly
voters.
Yes.
And it's not your job per se to now say, please come and vote.
No.
The party, the candidates that would galvanize their
own people to
you get
vote.
Your job is to say, I'm ready
to
conduct
in that number
a credible election. So until people start to put aside sentiment and actually just look at facts and figures, we will not have credible elections, because no matter how credible. Another thing that Nigerian politicians need to learn is that level of maturity. And I must give this to former President Goodluck Jonathan. When it was obvious that he had lost the presidential elections, he came out and conceded.
Can I say something with that though? I know that every time, especially a lot of Nigerians seem to, refer to that particular election as one of maybe the fairest elections, other than the June 12 elections. Yeah, that I also feel that a lot of people is from the sentiment that if the opposition does not win an election, it's not as credible.
Yeah, that's an angle.
Jonathan, like the only reason why people attach it to that and attach maybe something like Professor Jega as maybe being a little credible was because the opposition won the election. And I'm not saying that APC would win or would not win, but I'm saying in this instance where facts actually might show that it was a free and fair election and APC still wins an election, do we now say because of that it was not free and fair?
That's why I said that we need that level of maturity. That when you know the results, as the president, they will tell you, Mr. President, this is the real situation of things. You get? So that's where I was going with what I was saying, that until we get to that level of maturity where you know that an election could go either way. And it's not just a Nigerian thing. When Donald Trump lost his re-election bid to Joe Biden, he refused to concede till today.
Yeah.
He didn't do what was traditional. It's not mandatory, but it was traditional. Like, for instance, even the handing over ceremony.
He didn't attend.
He didn't go. You get? And all of those things, I feel, are the things that feels a lot of bad blood in the community, in the country.
Oh, yeah, we saw it happen in the U.S., the aftermath of that.
So it's the same thing I'm saying about Nigerian politics and politicians, that at the end of the day, we need to get to that level of maturity. When you go into an election, on the day of election, you write 2 speeches. You write your acceptance speech while you're thanking people and showing gratitude. And you also write your concession speech where you
something like what President Tinubu had said before the elections, that if I lose, I go.
Yeah, that's the way we should all be.
We should all be. But before we leave this matter of INEC, there's another conversation that has been going on, and I know that it's not like started, it's been happening for years, as the picking of a new INEC chairman, and how it's the president that always picks it. I know that is basically constitutional, but it has also been like a subject of conversation for the longest of times. And my question would be, how else or who else would you say would pick it? There's an SAN that said, people should apply for it. I'm like, isn't it such a sensitive thing? But also there was also the conversation about, if the president picks it, the president is picking his own person.
So this is a very interesting one, and the truth is that, to me, it doesn't matter who picks whom. What matters is the person's integrity and capacity.
Okay.
Now, asking people to, throw in their own applications also, does that stop a corrupt person from joining them? You see, every time people advocate for things, I laugh at the fact that they don't go in depth. So let's look at that scenario. You say you want to pick a new INEC boss. Everybody should apply if you have the capacity and the credibility and everything. Then they have like 1,000 applications. There's a screening committee. Abi? Wouldn't there be a screening committee? Is it not human beings that will screen them? Is it not human? Or you want to make it a voting situation? Do you understand? At the end of it's not an electoral post. It's still going to be a selection. You get? Oh, then they go to the assembly and the assembly will scrutinize them and everything. Every single one of those things can be manipulated.
Can still be manipulated. I get
your
point.
So all of these things that people are saying, they're just talking. They're just talking. If the president picks someone and the person is his person, you get, he can only rig if the other parties do not come out fully and participate and protect their vote. Now, everybody should have their own situation room. They should have their own means of gathering data.
Yeah.
But you see a lot of people who did not even cover the entire 300 and something thousand polling units or whatever, coming out to say they won. How did you win an election when there are places where you didn't even have agents?
So you don't even know what
you don't even know what you have.
Then
you are now going on social media to say, please send us pictures of the results from where you voted. That's not how it works.
We're going back there.
I'm just talking facts and figures. Just facts here. If you really want to do it, you must build a structure in a place, in a way that, okay, for instance, the last census that was conducted in Nigeria, I think Fashola was the governor of Lagos then. It was a national census, but Lagos also did a statewide census. You know what Lagos did? They set up their own, what's it called now? Commission. What's that thing called again?
Their own population
census,
commission.
Population commission. Board. And for every place that the federal guys visited, the state people were there. So when they came out with a result that Lagos felt was not right, Lagos said, this is what we have. And as far back as June 12th, some people might not know this, but as far back as June 12th, Abiola had that system in place where they could collate results from everywhere.
So at times, when you, and this is where maybe a conversation needs to be had, whether we like it or not, I don't know what the ADC is planning to do. I know that there are quite a number of people that have been political strongholds for a long time that are now in the ADC, so they get it. But I also feel that it's going to take a lot for, even we say, oh, the PDP is not doing well now, a lot of people are moving off the PDP. There's still a lot of structure that has happened over the years that will still make the PDP, someone like PDP, so cover a lot more ground than a lot more parties.
Yeah, the way it stands, I said it and I'm going to say it again, and this is premised off the last election that we have. It was some kind of general election. It wasn't, but there were a lot of runoff elections that ran the same day in Nigeria about a month or two ago.
Yeah.
And look at the way PDP performed. They did very well.
Yeah, even though they didn't win, they were at least
the
second.
ADC, SDP, Labour Party, they were all far behind. Like, if they ever came third or fourth, it was way behind PDP that was majorly second in many places and APC that was first in many places. So the PDP is still a big party, regardless of all the crises that they might be going through at the moment.
Yeah. So anyway, so I like, one thing that I think I picked out a lot is that regardless of anything, regardless of who the INEC chairman is, political parties need to do the legwork. If you do not have those structures, it's not going to translate. And again, I would say that I think that it is maybe just playing to the gallery. It's almost like as if there are new vocabularies every new election. This new set is one of these ones is they'll tell you that election is between APC and Nigerians. I think that it's a little bit of folly if we're going to be doing that.
It's not, Dolupo. It's a strategy. So it's some form of engineering or re-engineering. It's some form of conditioning by the ADC. They know what they are doing. They are trying to say that they are the party of the people.
I get that angle, but how much is it going to really work if you don't still have those structures in place?
So there will always be these struggles. There will always be the class struggles. There will always be we versus them situations. It always be the people versus the so that's what they are tying into. Now, if they don't have structures or they do, me and you don't know. We've seen them moving around, especially in the southwest now, and even in the north central. They were in Kwara at the weekend. You know, they had some event there. The secretary of the party, Ralph Aregbesola, has had several outings in Lagos and several outings in Osun State. So it's still 2 years. Maybe this is them showing us that, they're working hard.
They're ready.
We'll see. I have an open mind towards it. But
so
I know that it's all a political
it's still
strategy.
too early
when they say it's the people that will... Of course, the people have always decided.
Anyway, that's it for now. But moving on...
Did the people not decide when each and every one of them was contesting and they won elections?
Exactly. Interesting. Anyway, the federal government now, from the Ministry of Health. Is it Ministry of Health? Yes, it's Ministry of Health. I wanted to find out the correct name. It's Ministry of Health and Social Welfare. That's the way they call it now. Anyway, they have decided to take the bull by the horn and inform Nigerians that there's a lot of money that is being disbursed, and that is not just standing there, that is already being disbursed, and most of it, if it's not been disbursed, there's a timeline till the end of October, which is just a few days to go, that will be disbursed to every single primary health care center, and that people need to now start asking questions. And I think this is the point where we need to be. There's a lot of... Because this thing will probably have been disbursed and nobody will know. Now there's a lot more information that you know for a fact. Now they're even telling Nigerians to go to these places and ask questions. Go there and join committees and ask how the monies are being spent.
So the red letter was put out by the minister, Pate. I think he's doing an amazing job if you're following the works of that ministry. And about 32 plus billion naira was approved and released. However, if you read that letter, this is the third this year.
Yeah, that has been released. Yeah. Because
someone did raise a point. I was reading, when a doctor posted this letter, and I was going through the comments, and someone said, look, if you calculate it on the average, each PHC will get maybe 1 point something million. If you look at the number of primary healthcare centers that the federal government is going to disburse this money to. And I said, okay, yeah, it brings the money down, especially if you look at some of the PHCs. But they were not even getting these monies in the first place. And now this is the third. It's the third, disbursement this year alone. So at the end of the day, what the government is saying, in fact, there was a guy who posted pictures of 2 PHCs in Benue State. You will weep. Those things cannot be PHCs.
And then you now wonder, no matter how bad it is, where did that 1 point something million naira go?
Yeah, we're talking about mud buildings. You're talking about consulting rooms that look like a generator house. I'm being serious. That's my own assessment of those pictures. The guy says he makes documentaries, and
then keep in mind there's a lot of money that's supposed to go in from the local government also into these places. And
it's supposed to be like that. If you ever been to the primary health care center at Ebute Meta, you will not believe it's a primary health care center. It's almost like a tertiary healthcare center,
and you see the ones that are being built around Lagos now by local government. And you wonder, okay.
But what the government is asking now is, and I really hope people will take it serious, is locate the nearest PHC to you
and ask questions.
And there's actually a website, that you can go check and say, this is what this particular PHC got. And say, okay, so what have you guys done? This will keep them on their toes, and this could be saving a life, and the life might even be yours.
Yeah, I think that it's maybe something that not just the Ministry of Health, maybe other ministries also need to. It's something. If we're asking transparency from the federal government, then and they're towing this line and tell you that okay, this is money that has been disbursed. Then it's also we saw a list of monies that the federal government had also released to the states. We saw list of monies that were released to the local governments as well. This is this kind of thing that, because the honest truth is that if we say, the federal government, that most of what the federal government does is really release money and let these things. Now, it's the implementation of those things.
Are you okay, though?
Yes. It's the implementation of those things that would that we will see, okay, if what the federal government is doing. So now we need to start asking questions. What are these monies being used for? People need to start, other ministries need to start. If you really, really, really did release those monies, then it's time to now put those figures out and let people be like, my local government chairman got this money. Excuse me, sir, what did you use this money for?
It's important. It's important that we ask these questions.
Yeah, it's very important. But
basically, we're saying get involved.
Yeah, but kudos to the Ministry of Health for you doing this, and I hope that people, like you said, people actually take it seriously, and they do what they're supposed to do. Unless the funny thing is that
another
charity begins from home. Maybe it's time we too actually need to check this thing out and then come back with the feedback.
Another thing, which is what should be the right thing, let's hope we will. Another thing that they can do, since they're also deploying a bit of technology, is also to create, an app, that is for their ministry, but also is like a PHC finder. We need to start looking at how to make life easy for people. Like the nearest PHC to me, you'd have dropped markers in all those places, and people can search for them.
Yeah.
It even helps beyond us wanting to monitor what they are doing. It also helps
even
with
for
people,
emergencies.
Taking because
it's
you see what there's a faulty thing, and I think it's down to education and orientation. A lot of people would take matters that should go to a primary health care center. They will take it to a teaching hospital, and really you should be referred to those places. So that's why. But I think the hospitals have just given up. So you find that people walk into Lasut, they walk into Luth.
And then these people that will now say
UCH,
that, if they turn you back, they'll say, the hospital
they don't care. And all that. But there are some cases that actually should have just gone to the PHCs.
Yes.
So they need to create more awareness about it. Is there anything wrong with the PHCs spending money on signboards and signage and directional signs? Is it too much to say 400 meters to the PHC? Honestly, let's think out of the box.
Yeah, make the life easy for everybody. Also, before we leave this matter, I wanted to talk about something that I saw. It's not on our headline, but the Ministry of Finance had talked about sort of something like a receipt, like a federal treasury receipt. And this is about also accountability, where everybody, if there is some money that has been disbursed, this you can only, or maybe if you need to get, if there's money that is being paid to the federal government, it could be school fees or whatever it is, there's only one central receipt that you can get.
That you should get.
Once you are getting anything out of that, then there's a problem somewhere, which I feel that makes all the sense in the world. And I said that with that, they're also saying that even after getting that receipt, whatever, you can actually now track if your money actually got to the right account. Also, in the same vein, there's also talks of the Ministry of Finance telling all ministries that they have to declare every single account that they own and all that, because after investigation and they find that whatever money, that if you have an account that is not being declared fully, then those monies are officially forfeited. So
let's track back to the era of President Goodluck Jonathan, and when they talked about the Treasury single account. It was an original idea from his own tenure, but sadly they could not enforce it. The Buhari government did. And basically what they had noticed was that parastatals, ministries had multiple accounts. So at times when you are being fined, some of the monies are going to any of these accounts. And they're actually opened, with commercial banks, dated or named as Federal Ministry of Kineko, the Department of whatever. Do you understand? But it was basically a way for people in government to siphon money. I'm talking about civil servants now. Because it's true. This is not an allegation. So that's why they came up with the Treasury single account and all the other systems to streamline payments and all of that. But the gist now, and the reason why this thing came up, is that even after they had shut down a lot of those accounts, some of these guys maintained commercial accounts. So the gist is still gist though until you hear it officially. So I can gist now. is that there is an allegation that a lot of monies have been found. Yeah. So we will wait to see if it's true. It's just
a lot. Anyway, just wanted to put it out there. According to the Minister of State for Petroleum, now Nigeria is set to push for an increase in the OPEC quota to about 2 million barrels per day, and I think it's about 1.8 at the moment. But they're saying that that they can produce as much as 2, and they're working towards producing that much.
So the Nigerian budget, the benchmark was 2.2 million barrels per day. But Nigeria's allocation, the amount that we are allowed to push out, is not up to that.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a meeting next month. There's an annual meeting. They have, periodic meetings. But there's a meeting next month where Nigeria is now going to push, like you said, for 2.2 million and above. We increase our, quota to that amount, being a member of OPEC and all of that. That's why Nigeria has been able to ramp up production. But, it still hovers around 1.7, 1.6, 1.8 million
daily.
With
all the drama that happened, yeah.
But before the last 18 to 20 months, we were even not doing as much as 1.2, 1.5 a day.
Yeah.
So this is a lot of improvement in Nigeria's output. And if they're going to achieve the targets that they set for themselves, especially the benchmark of their budget, they need this approval to fly.
Exactly.
Next month.
Anyway, just also want to put it out there from the Senate. The Electoral Act Amendment Bill has now passed second reading in the Senate. So we'll see. There's a need for one of these days to actually look now and break down a lot of the things in this Electoral Act Amendment Bill. I think that maybe a lot, and this is where my issue is, a lot of us are not paying attention to those amendments now. By the time it's now passed, you now start hearing stories. Hey, is this what they should do? Is this what they shouldn't do? I think that we need to be more...
it's been messed up from the foundation. We have become a people who just like things to be handed to us. Nobody wants to do that research or read. For instance, when they were trying to get Nigerians to get the NIN or the ID card or whatever, a lot of people ignored until there was a deadline. Then another deadline, then another deadline.
Yeah.
It's the same way with this electoral amendments. I can guarantee you one thing, that it is when the thing has ended that you now start hearing, they should have done it this way, or they should have done it that. They didn't create they did though. They created. You are the one that did not bother.
Ignored it. So anyway, moving on from that quickly, let's go to a lot of gist from the courts. This one just easy. Edo Assembly has passed a bill to reestablish a customary court of appeal. Now, moving on from that, that's the gist of the day. Yeah.
Still in Edo State, there's a judgment that nobody, since you're in Edo State and it's a court matter, that nobody can crown themselves in Edo State as a king. That is not a traditional king from Edo.
Yeah, it says basically there's no, you're going dancing around the matter. There's nothing like Eze Indigo in Edo State, basically. That's
same
what the
way,
court
same
has
way.
said.
A guy had to put out an apology letter this week when he called himself the Obi of Lagos.
It had to be done. In fact, I saw a video where someone was talking about that Edo people, the indigenous Edo people are Igbos, and I think that if you look at this in social media now, there's a lot of. In fact, I think there's a particular TV. There's a particular YouTube channel that is now being called out seriously for a little bit of documentary that they did. There's a lot of facts that I think are being distorted at the moment.
It's all agenda.
Maybe, and I think that a lot of people might look at it, but I think that at this point right now, a lot more people are getting aware and standing up and saying,
didn't some people write a textbook and tell you that Ife does not belong to the Yorubas? So, isn't there a book like that?
And I know
that is being handed to secondary school kids?
The next thing people will say, there's a lot of tribalism, there's a lot of bigotry. But I feel that you cannot erode people's culture. You cannot erode people's
history
just to suit a narrative. And then when they now turn back and try to correct it, you now have all sorts of allegations against them. I think
it's actually
wrong.
good for people who have gone to live in different parts of the world to have a community, to have a leader. But you don't have to be a king.
Yeah.
You can be the chairman of XYZ association in Lagos, in Potiskum, in London. But why do you have to be a king? You were not born as one.
Let's stop it. I think it's becoming something that is ridiculous.
You just want to be royal, overnight.
It needs to be stopped. Anyway, now going to the court and the gist of the day. Mr. Nnamdi Kanu has that. Okay, first, his lawyers had announced there was a press release, not a press release. There was actually sort of like a small press briefing where his lawyers, all these SANs, had announced that they had withdrawn from the case. And now, today's court case, he was there defending himself, and he had told the court, which he actually has a right to, told the court that going forward, from now on, he will be defending himself, as he doesn't think his lawyers are capable of doing it. The court, by themselves, have now adjourned this case to Friday, that he's now going to open his defense. That's tomorrow. However, I have a few observations. I know for the past few weeks we had been talking about how even his lawyers had come out and said that he was well. Then there was conversation of the NMA, that's the Nigerian Medical Association, the court mandating them to come up with a group of doctors to check him out. Those ones said that it took more than a week. The time the court gave them, they gave them another week. Then they came out with the reports and said that he was fine to go out with defense. His lawyers had said, no, it's not true, that everybody is against him, that he's not well. And I know that's one of the major issues he's had with the DSS, saying that the DSS, they're not treating him well. There was a time he came with a collar. That collar is even being bastardized these days. And then, after all that drama that went on for weeks, I saw a video today where he was defending himself. And you know the funny thing is that to remove any bias, he sounded very articulate, and he knew what he was saying, yeah? For someone that was that articulate and that agile and going up and down.
Very vibrant.
Very vibrant. I'm like, I thought they said this man was not well.
People get healed overnight at times. People receive their healing.
We're doing this. We're going to do this.
But
what God cannot do does not exist.
No. I've not said that.
We're going to do
I've
that.
not said that. But are you doubting? Leave your bias aside for a second. What I said, does it happen or not?
I'm not saying it doesn't happen, but are we saying that
so
that's what's happening?
Why are you faulting what I said?
That's what's happening in this case. All of a sudden,
I said people.
Oh, okay. So he's been healed.
Look, okay. Look, we're at the bar, we're gisting, and we're preferring solutions and analyzing. But that is one scenario that is actually very possible.
Okay.
Another scenario that is very, very possible is that he is found his strength to defend himself because his life depends on it, his freedom depends on it. So at times, there's a way adrenaline takes over, and you can go back to being weak afterwards, but you speak with a whole lot of strength.
Oh my God.
And I am honestly not being sarcastic. I am actually being...
Yeah.
No, you don't know me like that. You're not me. I'm being very honest there. There are times where you think you're weak, then there's one mad dog running at you.
And there's some adrenaline that just pops off. Yeah, it's fight or flight.
Then after that, you come back to like, man, how did I jump?
So we're going to do that for 90 days, Abi.
I don't know if it's 90 days or not. I'm just saying that those are scenarios that are possible.
No, because it's
I don't want us to do it because there's so many things for us to talk about. I'm just being real here. But having said all of that, Nnamdi Kanu has had a lot of time on his hands. His video that came out yesterday from the court, he kept on talking about how people did not understand the law. And he was saying, you people, and he was surrounded by lawyers. So I'm not surprised that he has sacked his lawyers, because he brought out, some document, and he was quoting some parts of the Nigerian constitution. And he kept on saying, look, you guys don't know nothing and blah, blah, blah. And I said, this man has had time to really do a lot of reading in lockup, and is now channeling that, to his defense, he feels that the case is not going the way he wants it, and that's why he's kicked his lawyers out. In fact, it was said that the judge wanted to be very sure that that's what he wanted, so he told all the lawyers to leave except for the senior advocate that was there, and said, okay, you stay and you talk. And Nnamdi Kanu insisted that he wanted to run his case by himself. You know, I see him as, although I don't agree with in fact, I don't agree with virtually everything he says, but I see him as a very intelligent person. And I think that it's probably just applying his intelligence in the way he feels is the best way for himself. And he says he's agitating for his people. And you see it now, at least a lot of his people are coming out to say, free him, because they also believe in his campaign. Now, I don't agree with his style, and I do not endorse anything that he has said, especially the videos that I saw. You know, for instance, the funny religious guy that was at the protest on Monday with Sowore, that was calling out Pastor Adeboye, calling out Pastor, the leader of the church in Otta.
Oh, Bishop Oyedepo.
Bishop Oyedepo. He was calling them out. That where are they? After all, he was calling out Tunde Bakare also.
Oh, okay.
Then my man hears was the tear gas being released, and he takes off. And I'm like, have you forgotten that these same names I mentioned, Nnamdi Kanu has said bad things about them? And the videos are out there. It's there. He said anybody that goes to the church that these people pastor. He said a lot of things. I'm not going to repeat them. You know, but search for it. It's still on YouTube. It's on social media. So now, like I said yesterday, it might be some kind of genius, or maybe he's just made one of the biggest mistakes of his life. Time will tell. Tomorrow, he has to open his case.
Yep, so we'll see where that is. But before we leave that, another drama happened in court where one of the people that, would I say, solidarity that came to see him, Yele Sowore, was, after that court case, was arrested by the police. Now, it first came out and everybody was like, oh, is it true? Is it true? Yes, the police have now come out to say that it is true that he was arrested. Now, and they were asked, why did he get arrested? They're saying that, number one of the major issues why people got arrested after the protest on Monday was that there were certain places, I think they call it 3 arms. The
3 arms zone.
You're not allowed to.
There was a court pronouncement
that they were
no protest must happen around this place.
Around there. Apparently, there was a protest there and people were arrested for that reason. Now the police is saying that it would be very unfair on those other people if the person that actually spearheaded that protest was also not arrested.
Yeah, a lot of people have been talking about it, that what's the difference between Aloy Ejimako and Nnamdi Kanu's brother being arrested for that crime, in quote, and Sowore going there to say he wants to bail them, like he wants to get them out. He was the one that brought them there in the first place. He invited them. Everybody saw him. You know, again, I repeat, look, Sowore is a veteran when it comes to protesting. But at times you just wonder, like, people start wondering, like, is this guy really okay? Does he know what he's doing? But my man knows what he's doing. But the sad part is, you know, okay, for instance, when the police released tear gas and he took off, it's a very funny video. So Sowore running. Like, the people have made it into a meme. There's several songs now that they've added to those videos. Sowore was shouting, let's go to Berger, let's go to Berger. Why did he go to Berger? Berger is densely populated in Abuja. And that's where he finally had some kind of protest. But Sowore was going on for about a month or 3 weeks about marching on Aso Rock. Where is the sense in that? The seat of government we get is Abuja. But why do you want to go to Aso Rock?
Aso Rock, exactly.
Think about it now. Okay, so you could actually mobilize people to go to Berger and have a proper protest. Why were you telling people to come to the 3 arm zone, and why were you telling them that you are marching to Ababa? They think now. I
think the man really just wanted the his lawyer has come out to say, oh, his arrest is preposterous and all that, and I'm like, okay, again, this has nothing to do with anything. If there is a court pronouncement that you shouldn't go to this place, well, who do you think you are?
So, you know, Sowore is a very bold person, very fearless, or tries to show that he is. But I remember the video of him and Deji Adeyanju walking past I think EFCC or one of those buildings, and the security people there, do what they did, what they usually do to people, but Sowore stood his ground, and they actually got away with it. And I'm sure one of the guys said, "You go buy market now," in that video, and that really got him infuriated, and he stood his ground. You get? I mean, I no go lie. Me, I no be activist. Whenever I'm driving past Magodo, I try to make sure that my car is in good order. I'm not stopping in front of that DSS office there. There are times when those guys just block the road. They do it a lot. They do a whole lot of things, right? A Sowore would be there and make noise and go. Nothing will happen because they also pick their fights. Mm-hmm. And it shouldn't be. The law is the law. Do not trespass. Do not trespass.
And I think
if you trespass, this will happen.
He's arrested at this point.
So even government is also culpable. They are not serious because they pick and choose when to enforce. It doesn't make any sense.
So you don't think that it should have been arrested? Because I don't get at this point.
Okay, so it was standing with Aloy Ejimako and a couple of other people. Mm-hmm. Then he ran away. Then he went to protest at Berger. Then when he heard that they had been taken to a particular police establishment in Abuja, he went there and he left. Does it make sense?
Okay, so it was right there that he should have been arrested.
Yes. Now, if you are saying that you arrested these people for this alleged crime,
yeah,
and a person that was there, a partaker in the alleged crime, walks in and out.
Exactly. Okay, I get.
So it now takes when people had raised a lot of
conversation around.
Then you are now arresting him.
Anyway, looking at moving on from that, still talking about the police. Before we leave the police commissioner, the commissioner of police of the FCT has now redeployed a particular DPO. Apparently, there's a video out there about the DPO that actually slapped, which, if we call that, it would be an assault.
Yeah, I saw this video and I saw a comment by someone who said the same thing happened to him about a month ago. The same set of policemen in Abuja, right?
Same set, okay.
Same set of policemen. That's their MO. And according to him, they beat him up. They drove his car to their station. And then, like, an hour or so after, they were begging him to pay and leave. You get? He's saying it's a form of... This guy is alleged. It's written there on social media. It's like some kind of extortion and all of that. You get? But you see, that it's almost on a daily basis that you see videos popping up of Nigerian policemen breaking the law.
Yeah, when I go into our sense,
it's actually very disgraceful.
It is
disgraceful. If you are going to be serious, the IG and the top echelon of the police, they must work hard to do the right thing. I don't have the strength to go into details, but is it not disgraceful that virtually every time there's a video showing
a conversation about Nigerian police
breaking the law? They're actually breaking the law.
Breaking the law. Anyway,
because that's assault.
And talking about breaking the law, Lagos State Advertising Agency has now talked about a probe of a staff member over payment of fraud claims. So I think this conversation started where someone had accused the Ministry of Environment that a staff of theirs had gone ahead to be collecting all sorts of money. The Commissioner of Environment had replied and said that they were going to look into it, and they found out that this person works with LASA. That's an agency under the Ministry of Environment.
So the Commissioner had tweeted some information, and someone just went into the comment section and posted, a screen grab or a receipt of money that he had paid into someone's GT Bank or one of these banks' accounts. Scratch the GT Bank, one commercial bank. But the thing is out there anyway, so. And the person's name. And he said, you find me, for instance, 70K. And you gave me an account to pay to. Then you give me a government receipt of 7K. Do you understand? Mm-hmm. Something like that. Those were not the exact figures, but it was some stupid amount. Maybe like they got 50-something K from the guy and they gave him a receipt.
Yeah, and I think this is the good thing that we need to actually put these things out there. It happens.
So the guy tweeted at the commissioner, and I think immediately he put out that receipt. They looked at the name, and it was a name that they knew. Someone raised something, and I also agree. They need to check that guy's account fully.
Yeah.
I don't think it just started with that guy.
Oh yeah.
And I just think it just started that day.
That day. Maybe it's time to even look into this. Probably might put a probe into the activities of that agency and see the kind of things that
technology has changed a lot of things. Before, like for instance, the rogue policemen, not all the policemen are bad, but the bad ones, they had an agency within the police that used to check them. So there's a certain amount of money that you are not allowed, there's an amount that you're not allowed to exceed.
Yeah.
So if you have done that and you're carrying a lot of cash, you can actually be arrested.
Yeah.
But now, technology, what they do is extort digitally, and that's what that Lassa guy has also done.
Now, before we quickly leave and go to sports, because we really don't have a lot of time, there's another update coming from the Senate as another person has defected from the PDP to the APC again from Cross River.
Jarigbe?
Yeah.
It's interesting. Very, very vocal and active member of the House and everything. It's down to that joke that is ascribed to our brothers from the Southeast, where that the dad was ill, and everybody in the family went to check on him on his hospital bed. I was like, Chukuma, you did there. Chukudi, you did there. You did there. Who can't they shop? They're like, if everybody's here to check on him,
what the hell are you doing here?
Did you guys shut at this rate? Who can't they PDP?
Who can't they PDP at this point? Anyway, let's move on from that. And I'm really with a heavy heart. I'm here to say that Nigeria's Flamingo suffered the second defeat, and it was very, very, very slim defeat because it was really at the tail end of the game where France got 1 goal past the Flamingos of Nigeria at the Under-17 Women's World Cup.
I watched that game, like I watched their first game, thanks to FIFA Plus. It's an app that everybody can get, and you get to watch these games for free. I watched that game, and trust me, I don't feel bad because of the way our girls played.
Yeah, they stepped up from the first game.
Even in the first game, they didn't play that badly, but they just more or less I don't know, they went to sleep in the dying minutes of the game like they did in this one again. And I was really impressed with the way the girls played. They held it down against France. France struggled. And at some point, it was Nigeria all the way. We had all the corners. We had everything going for us. So I'm not really feeling too bad. In fact, I'm hoping that the NFF will allow the coach graduate with these girls to the next level. Keep them together for another 2 years. Let them go and play under 20 together. They have 15 and 16-year-olds in that team. So it's picture them at the age of 17, 18. Playing under 20. You know what it would do for us. For them, yeah. It's really good.
Anyway, let's come down to Nigeria, where we're talking a bit of the MPFL. First thing, the news that first popped up earlier was that the management of Bayelsa United, is that what they're called? Yeah. Have now given the players and coaches a 2-game ultimatum, saying that after 2 games, if they do not turn things around, say that they've invested so much money into them, and I think since the MPFL started this new season, they've only gotten 1 game. They've only won 1 game. They've lost the rest of their games, and they're saying that after 2 games, there might be a lot of punitive measures coming down.
Yeah, it's expected if you own a football team or even own a business and things are not going the way you want, you need to take drastic decisions at times to rejig the system and go back to winning ways and everything. So they have that too much ultimatum. But my own overview is beyond these 2 matches or Bayelsa. It's about the structure of the league in itself and how since 1990 something, when we started the professional league, professional in quote, in Nigeria, till now, I don't think we're doing very well. The best team in Nigeria played arguably the best team from South Africa in Abeokuta at the weekend. Remo versus...
And they were walloped. Yeah, they were walloped.
That shows you the gulf in class. Now, why am I saying that? We played the South African national team about a week or 2 ago in South Africa. Right? And it was a draw. In fact, all the goals were scored by Nigerians. It was an own goal that gave them half of the points. Do you get? So it shows that at the national level, they're not better than us.
They're not. So what's wrong with the
But
local?
at the league level, they're better.
Miles.
They're better than us. Let's be honest.
They're miles apart. But the thing is that when you now also look at it, that the national level are these people that graduated from the.
But the South Africans have a lot of their players from the league.
No. That's what I'm saying. Like in Nigeria, are they the people that graduated from the NPFL? No.
Yeah. So they have a solid league structure, as against our own, where we more or less, have a league. And the managers of the league will hate what I'm saying, but it's the truth. It's time they look themselves in the face and ask themselves one question. Is it working?
Yeah, still talking about that, just the news just dropped just as we were about to start, as Governor Alia, the governor of Benue State, has also now dissolved the management of Lobby Stars, board and management of Lobby Stars as well. That's another club dealing with a lot of issues. A few days ago, we talked about how the manager of Kanu Pillars was also, they too are really struggling at this point. And then you wonder, like, okay, so these things have been happening. How come everybody is now suddenly, is it that there's a lot more awareness or a lot more, okay, I want to do better now? Because now a lot of clamping down is happening.
So the issue, the one that I want to focus on, shout out to Father Alia for getting involved and trying to rescue Lobby and maybe take them back to their pride of place. But my issue is with the ownership structures of all the teams in the Premier League and majorly in Nigerian football. Mm-hmm. About 80% or 90% of the clubs are owned by government. And government hardly gets it right when it comes to management of football clubs. It's always one political crony or one former footballer that is perceived to have managerial skills. And the fact that you played the game does not mean you're a good manager.
Oh, yeah.
And the fact that you played the game does not mean you are not.
You are not, yeah.
But there are people out there who have done sports management, who have understood and understudied these things, and hardly will they get a shout because they're not political, or they don't know the governor, or they don't know the commissioner. So that's why you find Kano Pillars will struggle from time to time. Eventually they'll get it right, then they'll struggle again. The same with Lobby, the same with Sunshine. Sunshine Stars got relegated last season. Yeah. They're all government owned.
Yeah, I agree with
and
you.
How is that a professional league when we don't have proper stadiums, we don't have proper football academies, the players have to travel for hours on the road, play. There's a whole lot of things that we need to get right. It's similar or akin to the ranching of cows and the driving of cows on the road.
Okay, so we need to actually move on quickly from that. Zimbabwe has now sacked their own coach as well, the national team. They sacked the coach of the national team as well after they could not get a win from World Cup campaign.
How did it take you so long? You all knew he wasn't doing well in the first place.
Oh my God.
Now sacking him, what's going to happen? Will you get into the playoffs?
Okay.
Someone should have sacked him.
Anyway, finally, before we go, the Champions League match day 3 gave us fire. That's all we can say.
It gave us Osimhen.
Oh, yes. And Osimhen decided to, you know what? I'm going to show up and show out. Osimhen is making Galatasaray look like a force to be reckoned with at this point. They are. At this point, he definitely decided to, when I'm doing this and I'm doing this right. He gave
doing it big.
He's giving his team a brace yesterday again
in the first
well. Half. It could have even ended in hat-trick at this point. It was such a beautiful game for him. Everybody, the Champions
highlight
League,
of that game. The highlight of that game for me was when he brought his daughter out, and she also had her own Osimhen mask and everything. Everybody definitely got talking about Osimhen. That guy is amazing, Sha.
Again, I would say.
And for those of you that didn't buy him because of wages,
see your life.
Our market.
See your life. Anyway, there was a record 71 goals being scored in a match day.
Goals are going out of fashion at this rate.
At this point, everybody just decided, you know what? Maybe it's early days, but it was actually a very good match day 3 at the Champions League. There's Europa today. We'll see if Europa can step up.
Yeah. We'll see.
Oh my God, you're just a hater. At this point, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. We'll be back again tomorrow at 3 p.m. West African time to give you another wonderful edition of The Boom Bar. Do have a beautiful, beautiful day ahead.